on to our next speaker, Dr. Satyajit Sinha, who again leads member ARC from the East and a highly driven surgeon from ABI Hospital. He is going to teach us another pearl today, a good one. On to you, Dr. Satyajit.
Thank you, ma'am. I would like to thank Dr. Chitra Ramamurthy for the opportunity. I'll be speaking today on phacoemulsification and silicon-filled eyes. This is a 3-minute ESCRS style of presentation. The initial part of making the rhexis is all the same as you do in a regular phacoemulsification. You go ahead and do a good hydrodissection. The zonules may or may not be weak, so you want to do a good hydrodissection so that you are not hurting the zonules. For purposes of time, this video has been fast forwarded, and now you can see the phaco under progress. We are doing the phacoemulsification of the different quadrants. The real part which I wanted to teach for the juniors will be coming up now. And once you have finished this phacoemulsification, you should not come out immediately because there will be a lot of chamber instability. Some of these, there may be sticky cortex also in here, which you have to carefully remove. Slowly, you see a plaque also in these silicon-filled eyes, and you can see the chamber instability which is there. So slowly you have to remove these cortex which is there. And because this is a silicon-filled eye, that's why there is so much instability. Now, even when you are seeing that posterior capsule, which is appearing like a shiny plasticky thing, and it appears to be pretty strong, but in these silicon-filled eyes, one must remember that the posterior capsule is much more fragile than in a routine normal cataract posterior capsule. So you see all these plaque on the posterior capsule, and you are tempted, like in a regular cataract, you are tempted to go ahead and do the polishing. Once you are doing this polishing part, you have to be extra careful. You may really want to leave it and do a YAG later instead of trying to polish it, because if you go ahead and you aggressively start polishing it, you will see that there may be a posterior capsule tear like you see here. Now there is a posterior capsule tear. That was mistake number 1. Mistake number 2 is coming out of the anterior chamber of that bag, so that this now oil comes out. Before coming out, one should put a heavy viscoelastic so that the oil does not leak out. We go ahead and push the oil which is there in the anterior chamber with the viscoelastic. And because the tear did not extend, we were able to go ahead and put a IUL in this eye. But generally, you should put a heavy viscoelastic first and then try to come out. So this is what I wanted to teach the learning juniors who are attending this, that never try to polish a posterior capsule in a silicon-filled eye as aggressively as you would do in a normal routine case. Thank you so much for your patient hearing.
Thank you, Dr. Satyajit. That was a very good teaching pearl. I think the other important thing in a silicon-filled eye is we should not do a hydro either, because there could have been a lens touch and the posterior capsule rent weakness could be there. And I think it makes no sense to do a PC polish because later when the silicone oil is being removed, the retina surgeon could do a capsulotomy at the time if it's not clear. So the important message here for all of us is that we protect the posterior capsule in a case where silicone oil is in the vitreous cavity. And Dr. Satyajit showed it beautifully how we should tamponade it and place IOL. So experts in the expert panel.
I just had one question. Many a times in the silicone oil filled eyes, the pigments you see are on the posterior aspect of the posterior capsule. And how do you make out whether it's on the anterior surface of the posterior capsule or the posterior surface? If it's on the posterior surface, then you can't really polish it off, because many a times the pigments are there and then you try to polish it and then you have a PC rent because you cannot actually remove it. So that is what I do is I use a hydrodissection cannula and I do a hydro polish. And when I do a hydro polish, sometimes if I see a little bit of remnants of the cortex, they lift up. And then if it's lifting up, but the pigments usually are on the posterior surface, and they are usually because of the blood, which is some vitreous hemorrhage, which has not been removed completely. Part of it sticking to the undersurface of the PC can cause this kind of staining. And then you think it's on the PC and try to polish it, and you can get a rent. So it's very important to recognize whether it's on the anterior surface or on the posterior surface.
Sir, would a posterior capsule or like OCT, anterior segment OCT, using to see the posterior capsule would help, sir?
No, even online OCT, because this is very fine, you can't actually pick it up whether it's on the anterior surface or you just see the membrane. But
Can't pick up on intraposterior.
yeah, so it's very difficult to pick up. But most of them are because of heme, and they're on the posterior surface of the posterior capsule. So it is best not to try to polish that.
Can I make, good evening. Can I make a point?
Yes, yes.
Okay, very good presentation, Satyajit. There are a couple of points in which I wish to highlight. The first thing is that you are trying. You said that the posterior capsule at times is fragile, but on the contrary, also it can be parchment type in long-standing silicone oil, so that it can be parchment type. And there, actually, if you want to do a posterior capsular excess, it becomes very difficult. You actually have to use a kind of a knife to go in and then do a posterior capsular excess. The technique that we follow at Center for Sight, and which was described by Dr. Dinesh Talwar, etc., in RP Center, is that through you make a primary posterior capsular excess and remove the oil. Through the primary posterior capsular excess, if the oil has to be removed. That means that if you are planning an oil removal along with that, and the second thing is, I am not very sure that once you have a posterior capsular defect, and even if you put an IOL at that particular time, the oil will get emulsified and it will keep coming out. So basically, the compartmentalization has been lost. So there is no, there may be a temporary relief that you might have got of pushing the oil, but that is not going to be a permanent solution at all. Under those circumstances, you will have to remove the oil, or you will have to see whether the oil needs to be, something else needs to be done or not. The other important thing is that in these particular cases, even the anterior capsule at times is slightly difficult to do a capsular excess. And just to bring in the femtolaser assisted cataract surgery, if there is emulsified oil, which often is not seen when the patient is sitting down position. That means when the patient has come to you in the OPD, you may not see the emulsified oil, but when the patient is lying down on the table, and if you see the emulsified oil, this has been described by Dr. Garewal's son in Journal of Cataract and Refractive Surgery, and we have also shown a couple of cases that under these circumstances, if you try to do a femtolaser, there will be a non-cut area of the capsular excess there. So it is better to avoid a femtolaser assisted cataract surgery in case you are having emulsified oil in the anterior chamber. So these are a couple of the things that I would just wish to say, that it is very easy to remove the oil through a primary posterior capsular excess. You just put in the infusion and you depress the posterior lip and the oil keeps coming out, and that is in case you want to remove the oil. So these are a couple of the points that I wanted to, and I agree fully with Shri Ganesh that at times the pigment or the heme that is there is in the posterior capsule, and if you are just doing a gentle motion of the fluid also on the capsule, if nothing is moving, then it is very sure that it is at the back side of the capsule rather than on the anterior to the posterior capsule.
Satyajit, your original plan was to just do a cataract surgery or combine it with the removal of the silicone oil?
So the original plan was to do only cataract surgery because the retinal pathology per se, Dr. Pooja wanted the silicone oil still to be there, sir.
Now this problem happened, what did you do?
Because generally,
because I think, you know, once you have a, like Maipal was mentioning, once you have a PC rent and you had a large bubble coming inside, you have no other choice but to go ahead and remove the silicone oil in full. Because otherwise it's going to emulsify and keep coming back.
Later the silicone oil was removed. Silicone oil was removed, sir, later.
Subsequently. Because if you are combining with the silicone oil removal, and usually it's a very dense posterior capsule, fibrous capsule that you have, in those cases it's a good idea for you to place the lens, let the VR surgeon take over, remove the silicone oil, and use the vitrectomy cutter itself to create a very controlled, nice opening in the posterior capsule. That also works quite well. And of course, Once you have this problem, you have no other choice but to remove the silicone
Silicon
oil.
oil was removed, sir.
So just to take that forward, Dr. Talwar's study, because we did it at the time when Professor Dada was there. This was done in 100 plus eyes, and in each of the cases, the silicone oil removal was planned from the anterior root after doing a cataract surgery, and we used coaxial irrigation aspiration probe to take out the silicone oil after doing a planned posterior capsulorhexis in all those cases.
Well, now, thank you, Dr. Namrata.